Can you imagine risking everything you have when you already have nothing? That's exactly what one homeless man didn't. The world hasn't stopped talking about it since that it was the kind of night that cut through bone. The wind howled between the alley walls like a wounded animal, and the rain didn't fall, it stabbed. Cars rushed past without slowing, their tires hissing across wet asphalt, and tucked beneath a flickering streetlight. With his back against a dumpster and a thin blanket pulled over his knees, sat a man no one noticed. His name was Ellis Carter, 53, no address, no family, no complaints. He had a beard that curled like storm clouds and eyes that held the weight of too many winters. Most people just saw another homeless guy. But inside that wary frame beat a heart bigger than any mansion money could buy. Ellis hadn't always lived on the streets. 5 years ago, he was a mechanic with a corner garage, 2 dogs, and a daughter in college. Then the accident happened. A drunk driver blew through a red light and shattered his leg, leaving Ellis unable to work. Medical bills piled up, insurance lapsed. One by one, things were taken. The garage, the house, his dogs, eventually even the smile on his face. All that remained was a backpack, a sleeping bag, and a pair of worn boots with more holes than leather. But Ellis didn't curse the world. He still gave away his last apple to someone hungrier than him. He still nodded at strangers as if they mattered, and on that freezing night in November, something happened that would change everything. At exactly 9:26 p.m., Ellis heard a scream. It sliced through the rain, sharp, terrified. A child's voice. He turned instinctively, scanning the sidewalk across the street, and there, barely lit by the neon sign of a 24-hour pharmacy, was a young girl no more than 8. Her backpack was ripped, her knees were scraped, and a man was yanking her by the arm. Ellis didn't hesitate. He launched himself across the street, slipping on the wet road, but regaining his balance just in time to block the man's path, let her go. Ellis growled. The man, mid-30s, broad-shouldered, wearing a hood, snarled and shoved Ellis aside. But Ellis didn't fall. He reached out, grabbed the girl's other arm, and locked eyes with her. "It's okay. You're safe now," he said gently, and then, in a burst of strength no one expected, he yanked the girl away and shouted, "Run!" She bolted down the sidewalk, disappearing around the corner as the man lunged at Ellis. The two tumbled onto the pavement, fists flying. But even injured, even half-starved, Ellis held his ground until flashing lights painted the street red and blue. The man was arrested. Turns out, the girl was a missing child, abducted just an hour earlier. Her name was Lily Carter. No relation to Ellis, and her mother had been frantically searching every block with police when reporters arrived. Ellis was already sitting quietly on the curb, head bowed, rain still dripping from his hair. "Why did you get involved?" one of them asked. Ellis looked up slowly, blinking as if surprised by the question. "Because she needed help," he said simply, "and I was there." That one sentence went viral. By morning, #HeroEllis was trending in 20 countries. People couldn't believe that someone with nothing could give so much. Talk shows, podcasts, news anchors, they all ran with the story. And buried beneath all the hype was something no one expected. Ellis had broken 2 ribs and reopened the injury in his leg from years ago. But he refused to be taken to the hospital until he knew Lily was safe. The hospital staff couldn't believe it. Nurses brought him soup and extra blankets. One of them, a nurse named Carla, said he reminded her of her late father, silent, strong, kind. She posted a photo with Ellis on her Instagram. That photo got 1.6 million likes in 24 hours, and the kindness didn't stop there. A GoFundMe page was started by a local teacher who had seen Ellis sleeping behind her school for months. Her caption read, "He saved a child, let's save him." In 2 days, the page hit $180,000, but Ellis didn't want the money. "I don't need a house," he said, "not if there's another guy still freezing on 3rd Street. So he asked for part of the funds to be split among 3 local shelters, and for a portion to go to Lily's education. That generosity sparked a wave of giving. A coffee shop offered free breakfast to the homeless every Monday, calling it Ellis Mornings. A car dealership fixed up a camper van for Ellis, stocked it with blankets and clothes, and left a note for the man who reminded us what humanity looks like. And then came Lily. She walked into the van one morning with a bag of cookies and a hand-drawn card. On the front was a crayon sketch of Ellis with a cape. "You're my superhero," she said, hugging him, for the first time in years. Ellis cried, "You see, kindness doesn't come from comfort. It comes from character." And Ellis reminded the world that you don't need a title, a paycheck, or a perfect life to make a difference. You just need heart. Let's rewind for a moment. Can you imagine standing up to a criminal, risking your body and freedom, not for glory, but because someone needed help? That's the part that sticks. That's what people couldn't forget. In the weeks that followed, Ellis was offered jobs mechanic work, community outreach, even speaking gigs. He turned most of them down. "I don't want to be famous," he said in one short interview. "I just want to be useful." And useful he was. He started spending mornings helping staff at the shelter sort donations, teaching younger men how to fix bicycles so they could commute to work. He sat with veterans and shared stories. He even began tutoring a teenager named Malik who had dropped out of school but dreamed of being an engineer. Malik said, "Ellis changed his life. He taught me that being down doesn't mean you're done. Isn't that the truth? Sometimes the ones who've been stepped on the hardest know how to lift others the highest." Ellis didn't just rescue a girl. He awakened a city, a nation, a movement. One small act of courage lit 1,000 more. And if you're watching this right now, maybe there's something you've been afraid to do. A kind gesture you've been putting off. A word of encouragement you've been holding in. Let this story remind you. It doesn't take much to change someone's life. It just takes you. So if Ellis's story touched you, share it. Tell someone about the time you were helped or how you helped someone else. Drop it in the comments. Your story could be the spark for someone who desperately needs to believe in people again. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Join our community of kindness. We have another story coming soon that'll leave you tale of a teacher, a missing wallet, and a miracle in the school cafeteria. But for now, remember, kindness knows no boundaries, and sometimes the man with the least to give gives the most. Watch another story now, and let hope lead the way.